Welcome to the Reloaders Workshop tutorial, part 6. Now it's November 16, 2016, and version 1.1.006 of Reloaders Workshop is going to be coming out very soon, probably within the next week. And it has a few fun little features that kind of need a little explanation. So, part 6 of the tutorial will be a series of 2 or 3 videos that'll describe the new features and how to use them, the new features that will be coming out in 1.1.006. In this video, we'll talk about cross-using components. That means essentially if you want to make a handgun load, but you'd like to use a couple rifle components. For example, if you have an AR-15 pistol, for example, and you want to do a pistol load using 223 Remington cases and bullets that you would normally use for an AR-15, but you want to use, say, handgun primers and handgun powder. This will allow you to cross-use. Now, even if you've only used Reloaders Workshop a little bit, you probably noticed that everything has a firearm type, whether it's reloading components like bullets, powders, primers, cases, or other things like calibers, firearms, loads, batches, factory ammunition. Almost everything has a firearm type, and that's because almost everything in the ammunition world is created for one or the other, handgun or rifle. Now, of course, there's shotgun and black powder and a lot of other things, but we're focusing right now on handgun versus rifle. Everything else is there, but we're not talking about that. Now, if I want to create a load, normally when I select the firearm type in my load editor here, for rifle, it will populate the drop downs here for my selections for which components I want to use for this load with only rifle components. If I switch to handgun, these all change to handgun components. Okay, so up until now, Reloaders Workshop has always been if a component is designated for a rifle, you can only use it for a rifle. Okay, so if I have a rifle, I want to create a rifle load here. I want to create, say, 223 Remington. Okay, and you'll see I have all my rifle bullets listed here. I have all my rifle powders and so on. And I select all my components, but they're all rifle components. Now, if you want to experiment, let's say I want to use, say, accurate number 2 powder for this particular load. Well, accurate number 2 isn't on my list here because accurate number 2 is not a rifle powder. So what I can do here is I can go back to my supplies page, edit accurate number 2, and you'll notice now with 1.1.006, all of the reloading components now, in addition to asking you the firearm type, it'll also ask you, or had a little checkbox here, ask you if you want to cross-use this component. Okay. Now, accurate number 2 is a handgun powder. I mean, manufacturer designed it for handguns. So its primary type is handgun, and that's the way Reloaders Workshop will use it, only in handgun loads, unless you override that safety check and tell it, I want to cross-use this powder. So I check on cross-use here, and I'll update that. Now, when I come over here to load data, and I go to add a new load, and I select rifle 223 Remington, you'll notice that accurate number 2 is now listed as one of the powders that I can choose from, in addition to all my other rifle powders. Now, one thing it does do is it puts the word handgun in parentheses after the name of the manufacturer and part number. That way it focuses your attention on the fact that this is actually a handgun powder, not a rifle powder. So you should know by seeing that handgun in parentheses there that you're doing something out of the ordinary. You're not using a rifle powder for your rifle load. Okay. Now, bullets work a little bit differently, and this is kind of where it's not as intuitive, and people will get tripped up here, I think. And so pay close attention to this part. If I go over to my calibers tab, I notice, for instance, for 223 Remington, I have a pistol version of 223 Remington. If I look at it, you'll see that my max cartridge overall length is 2.26, and my max bullet weight is 55 grains for my handgun version of 223 Remington. Now, if I come down here and look at my rifle version, you'll see it has a max bullet weight of 80 and COAL of 2.550. So some of the parameters are a little bit different, even though it's the same caliber, or appears to be the same cartridge. There are some differences between pistol and rifle. So you still need to have a pistol version and a rifle version of calibers. You can't just list a caliber as being cartridge specific. Now, if I go over here to my loads here, I only go to bullets here first. And I'm going to select this Hornady 2229 bullet, okay, to edit. Now, as you know, with bullets, it has a firearm type, and it has a cross-use checkbox, just like all the components do. Okay, so this particular bullet, 2229, is a rifle bullet, but it's designated for cross-use. So if I go to create a new load, I want to create a handgun load for 223 Remington, you would expect that 2229 bullet to show up here because I checked the cross-use checkbox, but it doesn't show up. Well, why is that? Well, let's go back and take a look at that bullet. Now, the cross-use checkbox is checked, that's true, but down here under cartridge-specific data, this essentially lists all the cartridges that this bullet can be used in, okay? And if we look, sure enough, there's the 223 Remington cartridge, but this is the rifle version of the 223 Remington cartridge, okay? So since I've set it up for cross-use, if I go ahead and add a new cartridge, what I'll find here is that several of these are handgun cartridge versions of the cartridge, 22 bench rest, 22 Hornet, so on, that this bullet can be used in. But here is the 223 Remington handgun version of that cartridge, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and select that and add that cartridge to the bullet. So now this bullet is usable in both the rifle version of 223 Remington and the handgun version of 223 Remington. So you need to make sure you add that cartridge specific data to your bullet. Now when I go over here to load data and I want to add a handgun load for 223 Remington. Now we see here's all our rifle bullets, but now all the way down here at the bottom we see 2229. So I go ahead and select this Hornady 2229, and you can see it has the word rifle in parentheses. The reason, of course, is because this is a handgun load, and this is a rifle bullet. So all the other bullets that are listed here have their firearm type set as handgun. So they just show up with their regular description. This is the only one whose firearm type is rifle, but it has the cross-use checkbox checked, and we've told it Reloaded WorkShop. We've told Reloaded WorkShop that this Hornady 2229 bullet can be used in the handgun version of 223 Remington. Okay, and if I select rifle in 223 Remington, if I can find it there, you'll see it shows up under that as well. It doesn't have the rifle in parentheses here because this is a rifle load and this is a rifle bullet, so there's no need to specify. Okay, so I think that's where people are going to get hung up a little bit, is that they're going to hit, for bullets, they're going to hit cross use and still not see the bullet come up. You have to check cross use and add the handgun cartridge to your bullet to tell it that the bullet is usable in that particular cartridge. Okay. Now, cases are another special case, no pun intended here. You will see on the case editor that it does have that cross-use checkbox there, and you can check it for each case. But there are other problems with using a particular case in a cross-use environment. So for right now, even though the cross-use checkbox is there on the case editor, you can go ahead and check it if you'd like for those cases you want to cross-use. But for right now, cases aren't really usable across firearm types. That's all for this video. I hope you liked it. If so, please click the like button. Maybe even subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and happy reloading.